So your book goes into a lot more detail about various different types of outlines that one can have in the speech making process. Specifically, they talk about the working outline, the full sentence outline, and the speaking outline. So for our purposes, we are just going to be talking about the full sentence outline as well as the speaking outline because those are the two that we are going to be utilizing in our own speeches. So you'll see on the screen right now an example of a full sentence outline. In fact, this is my full sentence outline from when I took a public speaking class many, many years ago. And this is the second main point from my speech about the life of J.K. Rowling. And so you can see that there's a lot of detail in this section, right? I'm writing in full sentences. If I wrote an essay, if I just kind of deleted all of the formatting, it would just be an essay, right? That's what a full sentence outline is. It's a full plan of everything that you intend to say to your audience. So having this full sentence outline is really useful because it gives you a really clear idea of just how much time it's going to take you to present your speech. It also allows you to check for things like completeness and accuracy and just making sure that you have all of the information that you need to have in this speech and that you are fulfilling your ethical responsibility to the audience and making sure that you have an accurate and complete speech. You can also check for all those other things we talked about like relevance and balance and all of those things. In addition, there are labels in a full sentence outline, which you actually don't see here, but I'll show you in a moment in another video, that work as a checklist for you. So it will tell you that you need a main point as well as a sub main point and a sub point underneath that one and a transition in between the main points and a specific purpose and a thesis statement up at the top of the speech and a preview and all of those sorts of things that go along with organizing the speech. So these labels work as a checklist for you to make sure that you have every transition that you need and that you preview your main points and all of that kind of stuff. In addition, the full sentence outline includes a full list of references at the end of the outline. And again, in another video, I'll show you what these references look like, and it's important for our purposes that we are going to be using APA format references. And there's lots of helpful tools online that can help you learn how to do APA format so that you make sure that you are citing your sources in the way that we are doing it for the purposes of this class. So that's what the full sentence outline does, right? Basically, if you were able to have a teleprompter in front of you for the purposes of this speech, this would be the text that would be on that teleprompter. So it should be the full and complete plan of everything that you intend to say to your audience, right? Look at the detail that I have in this full sentence outline. It has every single word that if I was reading it, I would say to my audience. However, you will not be reading this outline to your audience because, as we've talked about previously, that would be public reading rather than public speaking. So instead, you have to create a keyword outline, a speaking outline. And you can see the difference here, right? This is the same exact main point from the previous slide, but it's very truncated, right? It's what we call a keyword outline. So in this speaking outline, you're using keywords and phrases. So rather than going into complete detail about J.K. Rowling's mother's multiple sclerosis, I have abbreviations and I have short little words that remind me of what it was that I wanted to say in relation to multiple sclerosis. So it's not the same thing as your full sentence outline. It has a lot of the same ideas, but it's just very, very truncated in regards to it, right? So it's all the same ideas, it's just a different delivery method. And really, when it comes down to it, your speech has 5 main components to it. You have an introduction, main point 1, main point 2, and main point 3, depending on your topic, and a conclusion. So your speaking outline should be on 5 4x6 note cards. So you would fit all of this information in this second main point onto one note card so that A, you reduce the amount of note cards that you have so that if some sort of mix-up were to occur, you could easily recover, and B, you limit the amount of information that you have in your hands. Because really, when it comes right down to it, the more information that you have in front of you on your speaking outline, the more time your eyes are going to spend on that speaking outline. And therefore, the less eye contact you'll be able to make with your audience. And this has a number of impacts upon your audience, right? If you're not making eye contact with them, you're losing that connection with your audience. And in addition, if you're just reading your speech off of your note cards, your audience will be able to tell, and they will see you as a less credible speaker because it doesn't really seem like you know what you're talking about. Whereas if you have a speaking outline and you're using just keywords and phrases, it makes you look super smart and super credible about your topic because you're just taking a glance down at your note cards every once in a while to remind yourself about what you wanted to talk about. But you have the ability to basically have that one-way conversation with the audience about your topic. So having this very strict speaking outline is only going to benefit you when it comes to the process of giving your speech.